Okay, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome, I hope you like it here. My name is Kay. So, if you played Stardew Valley, you know that one of the achievements in the game is the full shipment achievement, which is basically just to ship almost all of the items in the game, except for a few like artifacts, gems, fish, and cooking, which have their own like categories and achievements. And now that update 1.6 came out relatively recently, it made me think, how fast can you actually get this achievement? Like both in-game and like real time? As in like how many hours of playing do you have to do to actually get it? So that's what basically this video is. And you know what? I thought that we were going to kind of approach it like an experiment in high school, if you will. I feel like that will get things more organized because it just. I had so much stuff that I wanted to say, and it was kind of like hard putting it all together. So I feel like this would be a very organized way in doing so. So basically, when doing an experiment, we have 5 basic general steps we need to think. The first one is we set up a premise for the experiment, as in what do we want to achieve, what do we want to figure out. The second thing is the plan to execute it. How are we going to achieve it, right? What do we need to do? How do we need to do it? What things do we need to look out for? Things like that. The third thing is the predictions of the results, the hypothesis, if you will, which is very basic. It's just like, oh, I think it's going to take however long it is. Just looking at like past gameplays and like what do I think this will be, just to like kind of set myself a goal getting into this, because obviously if we don't set a goal and we just try to get into this, it could take a few months, it could take years, it could take who knows how long, right? So we should set some kind of a goal in order to aim for, at least in a general direction, right? The fourth one is the experiment itself, the execution. Yeah, very basic, just doing the actual gameplay. And then finally we have the actual results. What did we manage to achieve? What did we learn from everything, and how maybe I can tell you to do better than what I did, because spoiler alert, I could have done better. I did a few mistakes, unfortunately, but that's what this video is here for. It's to show you my best attempt at it and to show you how you can be better at it, better than me. Well, so getting straight into this, the first one, the premise. We already got this out of the way, which is, what is the fastest time you can achieve full shipment? Easy. Next is the plan, which is a pretty big chunk of this video. Like originally this was supposed to be the main part of the video, me showing you how to do stuff. So let's try and get this as organized as possible. So my plan was to first make a list of all of the items needed for this achievement, and thankfully we can do that pretty easily from the wiki page of Stardew Valley. All of the tables will basically have the same columns. Each table will have the name of the item, duh, obviously we need that. Next is the type of the item. Is it like a crop? Is it forageable? Is it artisan? Things like that. Third is time, if there is an exception to when it can be collected. This is honestly not that relevant to this kind of a challenge. I just remember that when I tried to get all of the fish on my main file a few years ago, that was very crucial, so I honestly kind of just automatically added it, but it's not really that important. But there are a few items which you need kind of like pay attention to it. Next is location, where it can be collected. This is mainly important in forageable items, obviously. Some of them can only be foraged on the beach or like in the forest, in the secret woods, things like that. And then next there are two columns that are kind of the same, not really, but like I honestly, when I wrote them, I mixed and matched them a lot, and like things that were supposed to be on one, I wrote on the other and stuff like that, but both of them are basically kind of notes. One of them is more so as like prior requirements, if you will, like if there's something that I need to do before I can get to a point that I'm even able to get that item. And then the last column is really just notes and general things you need to remember regarding to the items. And I made a total of 8 tables, first divided into 4 seasons in the game, because most of the items, like, actually I don't know if it's most, but I would assume like a decent half of the items are just crops you need to grow, and crops obviously are dependent on seasons, so it's very important to remember that and to have that as a separate thing. And then all of the stuff that are season dependent, I put in those things. And by that I mean crops, forageable items, etc, etc. And then the other tables are animals, mines, foraging, and artisan. And let's go over them just so you can get the idea of all of the items needed. And for people who might want to try this for themselves, I'll put all the tables on the screen and we can just go over everything and explain because some of the notes are honestly not that understandable if you don't live inside of my mind, I guess. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if you're super familiar with the game you'll just understand everything immediately, but yeah. Okay, so first of all, ignore the fact that I wrote the names of the seasons in Japanese. I'm sorry, it was honestly kind of automatic and then I was just too lazy to fix it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. So first we have spring. In spring, first we have the forageable items. In spring it's wild horseradish, daffodil, leek, dandelion, common mushroom, salmonberry, spring onion, and morel. Which out of all of these, honestly only 2 are kind of problematic, which is the common mushroom and the morel. The common mushroom is not that problematic because you can basically almost get it every day in the farm cave if you choose the mushrooms. But the more problematic, I guess, is the morel because it is more rare. You can get it in the cave, but it is rarer, I guess. If you don't get it, basically your best way to get it other than that is in the secret woods, which means you need to have the steel axe in order to access it, so that's a bit more difficult. If you want to rely on the farm cave, you can do that. If you want to get to the secret woods faster, you can do that. Both are okay. Next we have all of the crops. In the crops we have parsnip, green bean, cauliflower, potato, garlic, kale, rhubarb, unmilled rice, strawberry, coffee bean, tulip, blue jazz, and carrot. Which out of all of these crops there are 6 that are kind of problematic in their own way. The first 2 are garlic and unmilled rice, which both of them you're only able to buy the seeds in the second year of the game, which means you can't do it immediately in the first year. The next one, which is problematic, is the rhubarb, which you can only buy the seeds in the oasis, which means you need to fix the bus to get to the oasis. But to fix the bus, you either have to do the community center bundle, which is a whole thing of itself, or you need to pay 40,000 gold in Joja Mart to fix the bus, which is a ton of money that you're not able to get in your first month of the game, which basically means that also it has to wait for the second year. The next one is not really problematic, you just need to pay attention, is the strawberry, which you just need to go to the X festival, have money, buy it, don't forget, because if you're anything similar to me, I can be very forgetful and just miss the festival sometimes. So just be mindful of that. The next one is the coffee bean, which is honestly not that hard to get. As long as you go to the traveling cart every Friday and Sunday, you will get the coffee bean pretty fast. But obviously the traveling carts items are pricey, so you do have to have at least 1,000 or two gold on you to buy it. So just again be mindful of that. And the last one, which is a new item added in the 1.6 update, I'm pretty sure, which is the carrot. And the way to get that is to dig seed spots, which are very similar to artifact spots, but they look a bit different. But you can get it pretty fast. If I'm not mistaken though, the dates in which you dig the seed spots are important to which seeds you're getting, and if you dig at the end of the month, you'll actually get the seeds for the next season and not for the season you're actually in. So again, just be careful of that, to dig the spots earlier on so you can actually plant them in spring and get them in spring. But aside from the crops, we only have two items left, which are the trees, apricot and cherry. And to get to the apricot and cherry, you either need to buy the tree sapling, which is again very expensive, so I don't necessarily recommend it, or you can kind of gamble on the fact that the traveling cart will give you all of the tree fruits that you need. Okay, next season is summer. And again, we're going to start with the forageable items: rainbow shell, spiceberry, grape, sweet pea, red mushroom, and fiddlehead fern. Out of these, again, we have the red mushroom. We can get it at the farm cave, not a bad thing. But the more problematic one is the fiddlehead fern, which basically the best way to get it is in the secret woods, so you do have to get the steel axe anyway to get there. You can also get it in a few other ways, but that's, at least in my opinion, the fastest way you can get it. And you do need steel axe. It's best if you get gold axe or even iridium if it's possible, as soon as possible. Iridium obviously not really realistic in this kind of a challenge, but gold axe at least you have to get for the experience point in the foraging skills. But more on that later, not really relevant to that. Next we have the crops, which are melon, tomato, blueberry, hot pepper, wheat, radish, red cabbage, starfruit, corn, hops, poppy, sunflower, again the coffee bean, summer spangle, and summer squash. Out of all of these, we have four semi-problematic ones, which are the red cabbage, which again you can only get in the second year, the starfruit, again only in the oasis, same as before, and then coffee bean, same as before, you need the cart, and summer squash, you need to dig seed spots. Nothing really new, we heard about it. Next are three trees: orange, peach, and banana. Orange and peach, we already got over it. It's the same as the ones in spring. It's nothing really new. But the really problematic one is the banana tree, and there is a few reasons for that. Just generally, the fact that you can only get it on Ginger Island, or I guess better said, once you unlocked Ginger Island. And to unlock Ginger Island, you first need to finish the community center, which means you can do it either the easy way or the hard way, which is actually doing the community center, or, selling your soul to Jojo Mart and just paying them money, which both are okay. Thinking about the fact that what kind of a challenge we're doing right now, doing the community center is honestly not such a hard feat to achieve, I'm pretty sure. That being said, I low-key kind of forgot you needed to do that. I honestly thought that as long as I can just finish the bus bundle, I'll be fine. But then I kind of remembered, kind of realized, kind of discovered that you actually need to finish the entire thing in order to unlock the ability to fix the boat to Ginger Island. So if you want, you can do the community center in the right way, in the more peaceful way, in the good ending, whatever you want to call it. But I made a mistake. So I went the easier route and decided to just, pay money, be a capitalism slave and all of that, but we're going to ignore that. But again, honestly, once you just do this kind of thing, you get multiples of most items and you just need to put them aside to give to the community center, so it's really not that hard. You just need to make a separate list of all of the things needed there and just remember to keep them aside. But yeah, aside from actually unlocking Ginger Island, one of the problems in trying to get the banana tree is the ways you can get the saplings. Now, there are two main ways to get the banana sapling. One is you can buy it from the island trader for 5 dragon teeth. And the second one is to finish the big animal collection that Professor Snail has. Now, looking at those two options, I originally thought it would be faster to get the 5 dragon teeth, because from my experience trying to finish the collections, I had a really hard time in my previous playthroughs. So I immediately just thought it would be faster to do the 5 dragon teeth. As it turned out, it was not. I actually only managed to get 2 in the entire playthrough this time. So I eventually opted out into trying to finish the skeleton, and I honestly managed to do it pretty fast. Not trying to spoil anything, but I feel like that might be actually the better way to go about it, the easier way, if you will. But again, it's just, what do you prefer to do in the game? Do you prefer just to spend days on end in the volcano dungeon and try to find maybe a few dragon teeth? Or do you just want to run around and try and find skeleton parts in order to finish the collection? That's on you, that's for you to decide. Anyway, that's all for summer. Next is fall. Okay, so the forageable items we have in fall are, and I'm going to butcher it probably, chanterelle, maybe, I don't know, never heard this word before said out loud, so excuse me. Common mushroom, again, wild plum, hazelnut, and blackberry. And once again, the only thing kind of problematic is the chanterelle one, which either you can just wait and hope and pray that you'll get it in your farm cave, or you can go to the secret woods, which again, you need the steel axe. Next are the crops, which are wheat, corn, eggplant, artichoke, pumpkin, bok choy, yam, cranberries, beet, amaranth, grape, sweet jamberry, sunflower, fairy rose, and broccoli. And just like in summer, we have 4 semi-problematic ones. Again, the artichoke, only year 2, the beet in the oasis, the broccoli from the seed spots, and then we have the sweet jamberry, which you have to get it at the cart. You have to buy the rare seed for that, and hopefully, actually not hopefully, you kind of have to do it before fall arrives, because it takes 24 days to mature. So if you try and do it in fall, you'll just be late and you'll have to wait for next year, or you'll have to get the greenhouse and plant it there, I guess. But generally, you kind of have to get it before fall comes if you want to do it as fast as possible. And then we just have, again, 2 trees, the apple and the pomegranate, same as before, nothing really new. Next we have winter, which basically are all just forageable items. It's the holly, the Nautilus shell, winter root, crystal fruit, snow yam, and crocus. And then the one crop which was added recently, which is the powder melon. Again, just seed spots, and then everything else is just, as you can see, nothing really special, nothing really interesting. And then the next 4 tables are just a lot more. I don't know how else to say. They just have a lot more in them. You just have to kind of get your head into it. Let's start with the animals one. Most of these are just straightforward. You just need an animal. The animal gives whatever it gives and you sell the thing. And then maybe you use it to like make something out of it and you sell that. Pretty simple. Some of these are a lot more harder to get, like a lot harder to get. One of these things almost made me go insane, I swear to God. But okay, let's just go over it and I'll explain. We have the large egg, doesn't matter if it's white or brown. A normal egg, again, doesn't matter if it's white or brown. Milk, large milk, this is cow milk, by the way. Then we have ostrich eggs, void eggs, normal mayonnaise, duck mayonnaise, void mayonnaise, cheese and goat cheese, cloth, truffle, truffle oil, goat milk, large goat milk, wool, duck egg, duck feather, caviar, rabbit's foot, aged roe, dinosaur mayonnaise, and just regular roe. Now, if you've played Stardew Valley, you know which of these are more annoying than the other ones. If we go just from top to bottom, the first one we can see is the ostrich egg, which, again, like the banana tree, there are two problems with it. The first one is how to get to Ginger Island, because it can only be accessed on Ginger Island. But aside from getting to the island itself, there are two things even more problematic, I guess, on the island itself. The first one is that you basically need to get all of the journal scraps on the island, except for the last one, because the only way to get to the egg is if you actually get the journal scrap number 10, which is the second to last one, and you do get them in order, so you have to get pretty much almost all of the journal scraps in order to get to the egg, which just by itself takes time. But aside from that, if you do want to do things properly, I guess, and you don't just want to sell the only egg you have of the ostrich egg, because that is the only way to get to the egg, okay? Once you have that egg, if you want more, you have to incubate it to get an ostrich, which will lay more eggs. If you sell that egg, that is pretty much like done for. I'm not sure there's a way to get another egg, honestly. So if you do want to incubate in order to get to the ostrich, then you need to get the incubator. If you don't, you can just sell the egg just for the challenge and that's it. But if you do want to do things properly, you have to get the incubator. And to get to the incubator, you have to finish all of the collections of Professor Snail. Not just the large one to get the banana saplings, you actually need to finish everything. And that's just a whole thing by itself, once again. And that's pretty much the first thing that we need to put on our mind from this specific list. The next one is the void egg, which again, two ways to get it. You can either pray that the witch will hopefully come and turn one of the eggs in your coops into a void egg, or if you're far along in the game, you can just go and buy it from Kroger's in the sewers. After that, the next problematic thing is the caviar, in my opinion, because it can take some time, but honestly I found it actually didn't take that much time for me, so I don't know if I should really put it that high on like how problematic it is. You have to get a fish pond for the farm, and you have to put sturgeon fish in the pond. And I mean, theoretically you can put only one or two fish in the pond, and then eventually maybe it will give you the sturgeon roe needed for the caviar. But if you just want to do things faster, that means you have to have, first of all, more sturgeon fish, which are a bit hard to catch. And second of all, you need to fulfill the fish pond's requests for the upgrade, which can be a bit problematic, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Now, the biggest thing on this list, or at the very least, the thing that I found the most trouble, aside from the ostrich eggs, is the dinosaur mayonnaise, which, funnily enough, the egg itself, like the dinosaur egg itself, is not included in this collection for some reason, but the dinosaur mayonnaise does. And obviously to get the dinosaur mayonnaise, you have to get the dinosaur egg, which, unless you can get access to the skull cavern, your best bet would be fishing, in my opinion, because like aside from fishing, you can dig artifact spots in the mountains, but first of all, there are not a lot of artifact spots in general as it is, and then specifically in that region, and then maybe hopefully pray that you get that specific item. It's such low chances to get it that it's just better to fish and hopefully get it from the treasure chests. But if you can get to the skull cavern, it's honestly not that hard to get the dinosaur mayonnaise, as I later found out, and I was kind of upset about it, not gonna lie. But yeah, you can go to the skull cavern, you'll eventually find dinosaurs there, giant lizards, whatever you want to call them, kill them, and you'll have a pretty good chance of getting the eggs. Especially if you find an infested floor with a lot of giant lizards. I found one such floor once, and I think I got like a total of 4 eggs from my run in the mines that day, so that was pretty good. But yeah, like out of this entire list of the animals items, the most problematic is probably the ostrich egg, I would say so. And I mean, it depends on how early you plan to finish the game. Dinosaur eggs can also be pretty problematic. Okay, next is the mines. So in the mines we do have very like obvious things, I guess. But let's just go down the list, and then I'll just talk about the more problematic stuff. So we have cave carrot, copper bar, iron bar, gold bar, iridium bar, refined quartz, copper ore, iron ore, coal, gold ore, iridium ore, bug meat, slime, bat wing, solar essence, void essence, squid ink, cinder shard, magma cup, bone fragment, radioactive ore, and radioactive bar. So again, going down the line, the first semi-problematic, I guess, is the iridium ore and bar, which, I mean, depends, I guess, on the luck and how you get those. You can get those pretty early on. You can buy them at the cart, I'm pretty sure, too, or at least the bar you can buy, and then the iridium ore you can get in other ways if you're lucky enough. Like, I got a few before I actually got to the skull cavern, so it's not that hard, but I mean, it is a bit more difficult. Aside from that, basically the only kind of harder things to achieve are the cinder shard, magma cup, bone fragment, and radioactive ore in bar. First 3, once you unlock Ginger Island and you get to the volcano dungeon, it's not that hard. You can get them pretty much immediately. It's really easy. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is the radioactive ore and bar. Probably one of the 2 most difficult things to get in the game. Because not only do you have to finish the community center to get to Ginger Island, not only do you have to be on Ginger Island, but once you're on Ginger Island, you have to get almost all of the golden walnuts on that island. You have to get 100 out of 130 golden walnuts in order to open Mr. Cheese room, which honestly would have been fine by itself. Like, I wouldn't be complaining. The problem comes when you're basically left to luck in which missions you get in Mr. Cheese room. And if you don't know, Mr. Chi is this kind of like mysterious guy in the game that gives you missions and whatnot, and he's kind of weird, and I think his skin is blue for some reason. But he has this room on the island, which again you can only access once you've got 100 golden walnuts, which by itself is a pretty tough thing to do. But then when you get to the room has like a board with 2 missions on it, and it refreshes once a week. You could get new missions, or you can get things that were already on there, which is really annoying, not gonna lie. It's random with the missions that you get to there, which is the problem, because out of a list of I think like 7 or 10 missions that you can theoretically get, we need one specific mission the danger in the deep mission. And we need that because once we have that mission, the mines that we have on the main island reset, and they kind of everything there changes. But the important thing is that with everything changing, we get the radioactive nodes, which from you we can get the radioactive ore, and then from the ore we can get the bars. Which means from the start of the game to the point that we can get the radioactive ore in the bar, we basically need to finish the entire game. Like story-wise, that's pretty much it. Like we do actually have to do all of the main stuff, like the community center, all of Ginger Island, and then all of the mines. I mean, technically Skull Cavern isn't really related to that, but I mean, basically, that's the entire game in a nutshell, right? So that is a very tough thing, I guess, to get to, and that's basically the aim that we are aiming for in this entire thing. So yeah, in the mines, I guess, table, most of the stuff are really easy to get. Like you just need to kill a few monsters, you basically need to finish the entire mines, which you have to do, so that's another thing. I guess you have to get to level 120, but it's not that hard. If you keep at it, you'll eventually get it. You also get a lot of ores, which you do need to like continue progressing in the game. But yeah, the radioactive ore and bar are the two things that kind of hold you back from actually finishing it fast. Anyway, that being said, the next one is the Artisan table, which I mean, all of the stuff here are kind of pretty straightforward. You just need to make all of this stuff. You have to have the machines to make all of this stuff. Or I mean, instead of that, you can buy a lot of this stuff in the cart if you want. So what do we have here? We have pale ale, we have honey, jellies, pickles, beer, wine, juice, meat, green tea, battery pack, tea leaves, pineapple, mango, banana, smoked fish, raisins, dried fruit, and dried mushroom. And I mean, out of these, we have a few that are pretty problematic once again, like everything. For most of these, you need to have the keg, which is a bit harder to get because you need like hardwood for it, but honestly, it's not that bad. At some point, it would be just obvious you would have an abundance of materials to get everything. It's really not that bad. But what do we need to look out for? Well, the first thing is the tea leaves and green tea that basically comes hand in hand. Your way of getting the tea leaves is theoretically you can get it in the cart. Theoretically. I wouldn't rely on that, honestly. I don't think I got it once in the entire playthrough, so just put that at the back of your mind. The better way to do it, or I guess the correct way story-wise to do it, is the Caroline to Heart event, which Caroline is the wife of Pierre from Pierre's general store where you buy the seeds, the one with the green hair. Her schedule is honestly kind of straightforward, and most of the gifts that she likes also are not kind of super rare or super hard to get. I mean, if you want to rely just on giving her gifts and talking to her from time to time, you can wait until summer, because one of her loved gifts is summer spangle, which is one of the flowers. So you can just plant a few of these and just give it to her every day as much as you can. And I mean, 2 hearts is not hard to get. You'll get it pretty fast, and then you can have the heart event and get the leaves, basically. I mean, you don't get the leaves immediately. You get access to the room where she has the tea plant, I guess, and the tea tree yield tea leaves only in the last week of each month of each season. So once you do get to that 2 heart event with her, you just need to go there 1 to 3 times at the end of the month. I mean, depends on what you want to do. I mean, there's 3 ways you can go about it. 1, if you want to get the tea leaves just once, you can go there and then plant them on your farm, wait for the tree to mature, and then harvest tea leaves from the tree on your farm twice, once to sell and once to make tea. The second way, if you don't want to plant the tree, you can just go to her room 2 times, once to get the leaves and once to get the leaves to make the tea, the green tea, and then just sell those 2 things. And then the third one you can just go there 3 times, 1 to plant, 1 to sell, and 1 to make tea. So that, I mean, just depends on you, on how bored you are, I guess, on, I don't know, your personal preferences. Like, each of these are fine, going there, it doesn't take a lot of time, really up to you. The next 3, the pineapple, mango, and banana, I mean, I didn't really know where to put them honestly, but since technically on Ginger Island they're not restricted to a single season, I just kind of put them here to bundle them together. But like I said before, you just need to get to Ginger Island, you need to get those somehow. The pineapple seeds you get pretty fast if you kill monsters in the volcano dungeon, it's not that hard. The mango tree, I personally got like at least a few saplings just from like fishing and killing animals and stuff like that, so it's really easy. You can technically buy it from the island trader for 75 mussels, but until you get 75 mussels it can also take time and you really don't need it. I mean, if you don't find the sapling, then I guess you can do that, but in my experience I found it multiple of them pretty easily, so I wouldn't sweat over it. And banana, we talked about it before, so next we have the smoked fish, raisins, dried fruit, and dried mushroom. Those 3, we need the dehydrator to use them, I guess, to make them. And if you choose the mushroom cave on your farm, the mushroom cave actually comes with the dehydrator, so you don't really need to do anything, you just get it, and it's really easy, and you just don't need to sweat about it. Like, it looks like it's a new item and it will be hard to get, but it was really easy. It's one of the first things I managed to do, so don't sweat about it. But then we have the smoked fish, and to get to the smoked fish we need the fish smoker. Now, the recipe for the fish smoker, you can just buy it. Thankfully you don't need to do anything special, but it will cost you a pretty penny of 10,000 gold, which at the beginning of the game is unheard of. You do have to wait a bit for it, but thankfully once you have it, it's not such a big deal. If you've been fishing before and you kept the things that you got, it's not that hard, because to make it you have kind of like 3 semi-problematic ingredients, which are the sea jelly, the river jelly, and the cave jelly. Now again, as I said, if you fished before, you most likely already got the sea jelly and the river jelly, and you just need to keep them aside and not eat them and not use them, or at least not all of them, keep at least 1. But then the cave jelly is a bit more problematic because you have to go to the caves in the mines and fish there, and the chances of getting the cave jelly are not that high, so you will be there at least an entire day, if not multiple days, trying to get that 1 cave jelly. But once you've got it, it's really not such a big deal. You have the machine, you put any fish in it, and you got smoked fish. It's really not a big deal. And now we finally got to the final table of this entire thing, the forage table. In this table we have coconut, cactus fruit, sap, clay, wood, stone, coral, sea urchin, purple mushroom, ancient fruit, hardwood, maple syrup, oak resin, pine tar, fiber, ginger, taro root, moss, and mystic syrup. Now, once again, most of these are just really straightforward, like the wood, clay, stone, you just get those stuff and you can sell them. What is a bit more complicated is, I guess, the coconut and cactus fruit, which you can forage in the desert, or I guess coconuts you can get on Ginger Island too, but I mean the desert is closer, so let's think about it like that. Or once again, you can buy it in the cart. A lot of the items that we need can be bought at the cart instead of like trying to get them in their special way, in their very specific way. You can just buy them. So coconut and cactus fruits are one of these items. Next is one of the more, I guess, harder to achieve items in the game, which is the ancient fruit. Because to get the ancient fruit, you have to first find the ancient seed, like the singular seed. that you can find from digging artifact spots. And it honestly, it can take a while, but if you're lucky, you can get it also pretty fast as well. I think you can get it in treasure chests too. So honestly, it's not that bad, because once you've got it, you just need to donate it to the museums and you'll get the ancient fruits, like actual seed that you can plant, which is kind of funny because I remember in my first ever gameplay that I got that seed, I refused, like I had a principle that I refused to give it to the museums because I didn't know if I'll ever be able to find another one, and I just needed to find a way to plant it, so I just refused to give it. And then eventually I somehow found out that I need to donate it in order to get the seed. So that's kind of funny, but yeah, you just need to donate it, you'll get the seed, you'll grow the crop, and you'll get the ancient fruit. Preferably you'll do it after you get the greenhouse, because I don't know, for me it was always kind of an obvious thing, since it's a crop that can grow all of the year except for winter. For me, it makes sense to put it in the greenhouse, just to have it like on constant supply kind of thing. And then every time you get the fruit, you just make more seeds out of it and you just expand your supply chain, I guess. After that, we have a few items from Ginger Island, which is the ginger and the taro root. Again, very easy to get. Don't sweat about it. Now, so remember earlier I said radioactive iron bar is one of the two most difficult things in this game to get. And so, at least in my opinion, one of the most difficult things to get in the game, and the thing that will probably be a pain in your ass, drumroll please, is mystic syrup. And this thing, this thing gave me a headache, I swear to God, it was so annoying to try and get. Because like, on paper, in theory, it's not supposed to be that hard, right? You just need to get a seed, a special seed for the mystic tree, and you need to put a tapper on the tree. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. Not at all. Or at least that's what I thought, but no, apparently not. That's not at all what you need to do. I mean, it is, but in order to get to that point, you have to do so much. And what do I mean by that? Well, that so much that you need to do is, first of all, you have to get to level 10 skill in all of the skills you have. Which, I mean, if it was a regular just gameplay, it wouldn't be that bad, because eventually you play long enough, you get those skills. It doesn't matter, you just do. But since the entire point of this challenge is to do everything as fast as possible, that means you have to get those skills also as fast as possible. And I mean, most of them aren't problematic. Like, obviously the farming one is the easiest one to get, because you just farm a lot. That's the best way to make money. You just have to kind of do it, and then you immediately get to level 10. Also, the animals count for farming too, so it's really a no-brainer. And then fishing also, if you do fishing a lot, which you kind of have to in this kind of challenge, that you do have to dedicate quite a few days just to fishing, you do get to level 10 pretty fast as well. No, nothing bad. And then out of the other three, I guess the more easier one to get is the foraging, because aside from actually foraging, one of the fastest way to get foraging points is just to cut down trees. And that's what I meant when I said earlier that it's better to get a golden axe, because with a golden axe you just need to strike the tree 6 times in order for it to fall. And then each tree you've fallen, you get 12 or 13 experience points, which doesn't sound like a lot, considering you do need like a total of 10,000 to get to level 10. But if you do it enough, you'll get there. And it is the easiest way to get foraging experience points. But then the other two, the mining and the combat skills, I found that, at least for me, are always the two last ones that I get, because even if I do go to the mines, breaking just regular rocks doesn't give you any XP. You need to break on special rocks only. And then obviously combat, you need to fight a lot of monsters, and I'm not a big fan of that. Like, it can be fun, but it's so stress inducing, especially in the skull cavern, with a serpent, like, it's so stress-inducing that I just tend to try and avoid it as much as possible. So for me, it was always those two that it was kind of harder to get. But I mean, eventually, if you do get to the point that you have the Danger in the Deep mission for the radioactive ore and bar, once you get there, all of the things there are worth so much experience points, which really you'll just get it almost immediately. And if not immediately, pretty fast, I would say so. So it's not that bad. But even after you do that, it doesn't stop there. Because after you get all of the skills to level 10, only once you do that, you have like a room in the forest south to the farm. There's like a cave room thing that only then opens. And then once you get there, you have the option to, I guess, buy new skills and new, I guess, recipes and stuff like that in each of those 5 categories. But to be able to buy those stuff, or to get those stuff, I guess is better said, you have to get another 10,000 experience points. Now granted, it doesn't matter in which category, you can do whatever you want as long as you get the points. But it's just, it's not, you know, like a tiny extra step that just annoys you. Because after you spend a few days trying to do that, which, again, fishing is probably the best way to do, and it will take you at least a few days to do that. But after you spend those few days and you get back there, you get to the seed, and then you have to plant it and just hope for who knows how long till it grows, because each night it only has a 15% chance of growing. You can use tree fertilizer to like grow the 15% to 30%, but still, even then, it's 30% each night. So at the very least, you have to wait 4 nights if you have like amazing, outstanding luck. And then after the tree is eventually ready, you need to put a tapper on it and wait just another week just for that syrup. So it's a lot of like small stuff that in and of itself is not such a bad thing, but it's a lot of small stuff you just need to get through to get to the end, and it could be one of the last things that you need to do. And that is basically all of the items that we need. So let's just kind of recap and remind ourselves the most problematic stuff and what do we need to like keep in mind. What do we need to achieve? What are the steps that we need to get in order to get to the end? And there are kind of like 2 categories that go into this. The first one is the Ginger Island category, which, as I said before, in order to get Ginger Island, you need to first finish the community center, be it the good or the bad way. And then here we have the banana, the ostrich egg, and the radioactive orange bar. And then the other category is just general luck or time-based items, which are the void egg, the iridium bar and ore, caviar, ancient fruit, tea and tea leaves, dinosaur mayonnaise, and the aforementioned mystic syrup. So with the tables ready, you're basically ready to start the challenge, but before that, let's just go over a few like warning points, things to look out for, if you will. Like, how can we possibly do it in the best way? This is like just a list of tips to keep in mind and just repeatedly do them, I guess. That's the best way I can put it. So 1, focus each season on its own things. Might be obvious, might be not, but then in parallel to that, focus on one of the extra topics. Because each season, most of the stuff you need in that season are just crops and forageable items, you either get the forageable items pretty much immediately, or you just need to wait for the crops to grow and water them every day. So aside from doing that, you have a lot of free time. So I would suggest that in that free time, choose one of the 4 categories of like animals, mines, foraging, and artisan. Like, focus on the other stuff while you do that. And like I said before, since we need to get to the secret woods, hopefully, and we need to cut trees, you need to upgrade your axe. And in order to upgrade your axe, you need ore. So the best thing to focus on first would be the mines. The second tip is, at the same time, you need to try and buy and upgrade a barn and a coop as soon as possible. The barn you need to upgrade to a deluxe, and the coop you need to only upgrade to a big. And I say that why? Because, like, yes, theoretically you need a deluxe coop in order to put rabbits in it, but rabbits are honestly not that necessary, because wool you can get from the sheep in the barn, and rabbit's foot you can actually get pretty easily from the cart. Like, I had quite a few instances I could buy it, so it's not that much of a rare item to get in the traveling cart. So I would say that would be a better use of your money and resources. So instead of putting that into a deluxe coop, you can just buy the rabbit's foot and sell it immediately after that. And then you do need the deluxe barn, both for the pigs and the ostriches, which, again, pigs, I guess you can get the truffle and truffle oil in the cart. But for the ostriches, you definitely have to have a deluxe barn. Again, if you want to just throw the only egg in the game to sell it, you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, you do need a deluxe barn in order to have the ostrich there. The next one is not really much of a tip, it's just kind of depends on how you want to do stuff, which is regarding all of the trees. If you think you are able to buy all of the saplings as soon as possible, then do that, because that would be the best for you, and that would be how you can just get rid of that as soon as possible. But again, as I said, it is very expensive. It takes time for the trees to grow, and which means that the trees of spring you can only get pretty much in the second year. You just can't do that before that. So I would suggest not waste your time and money on that, and just go to the traveling cart every time and like get the fruits that she sells there and just sell them immediately after that. That would be better. It is gambling basically, because you don't know if she will ever give you everything, but it is a better way, I would say. The third tip is, again, might be obvious, it probably is obvious, but I will say just in case, and it is going to the traveling cart every Friday and Sunday. Every time she comes, you need to go there, and you need to have on you at least 2,000 to 3,000 gold, just in case she will have some of the more rare items that you need. And I kind of got a list of things just to look out for, which are basically all of the seeds that we only get on the second year, and all of the fruits, instead of buying the saplings for the trees. So when you go there, just keep your eye out for garlic, rice, red cabbage, artichoke, rare seed, coffee bean, and then all of the fruits, i.e. apricot, cherry, orange, peach, apple, and pomegranate. Those are basically the stuff that you need. Aside from that, like I said before, you do need rabbit's foot. And if you want to just save yourself some time and you have the money to do it, like obviously there's a lot more stuff you can buy there, like animal products or like artisan goods. You can just buy them and sell them immediately instead of creating them. So that's just for you to decide. But the things that I said, like the crops and fruits, they will save you a lot of time and effort if you just buy them from the cart. The fourth tip, I would say, is to choose the mushroom cave on your farm. First of all, because you actually get the mushrooms, which again can save you time in going to the secret woods, and it's just better than the fruits, honestly. I never understood people that choose the fruit, but you do, I guess. And then more importantly, you will get the dehydrator, which will save you just a whole lot of pain in the ass trying to get it by yourself. So it's just a whole world better than the fruits caves. The fifth tip is, again, obvious, but I will remind you just in case, and that is every time you see artifact and seed spots, dig it. Carry your hoe everywhere with you, especially in the beginning. I mean, preferably the entire game, but especially in the beginning, you have to carry the hoe with you everywhere. just in case you'll see an artifact spot and you'll have to take it, because you never know. You can get some good stuff in there. You can get also like experience books, which will help you leveling up your skills. So just do that, just keep your hoe on you at all time. And then the last thing is not really a tip, it's more like of a reminder. Don't forget that in spring you have two things to look out for. One is the egg festival, which you need to buy strawberry seeds in. And then the second one is from the 15th to the 18th is the only days you can get berries while foraging in spring, which is one of the things we need. And then similarly in fall we have from the 8th to the 11th of fall, you can only get the berries once again. Now, did I actually always follow all of these? Hell no. Unfortunately, I'm too neurodivergent to do so, and I just get too hyper focused on things that I forget everything else around it. But this is just a general baseline of things, and like, do as I say, not as I do type of situations. You just keep those in mind. These are just tips to make it better, make the experience faster, and just optimize it as much as possible. Okay, so now that's out of the way, we can make our predictions. I'll be honest, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. Like, originally I thought to aim to finish in 1 year, like that was my goal. Like, I thought that it would be possible when I thought of this idea. But then I realized that I needed both the community center and Ginger Island completed. So my aim kind of changed, and I hoped to finish within the first 2 years in-game. As for like real time, I didn't really give much thought into this, but considering this is pretty much a full walkthrough of the game, like a full gameplay of the game, but without like dilly-dallying too much, I hoped it would be around 30 hours, like based on past gameplays. Like my main file of Stardew Valley, I think I have like 120 hours on it, which I know is not a lot, okay, don't come at me, but like if I had my actual first ever file of Stardew Valley, it would have been probably somewhere along 200 to 300 hours, but we're going to ignore that. So like basing my suspicions on past gameplays, I hoped it would take around 30 hours to do so, but as we can see later, I was wrong. And then we have arrived into the fourth stage, the execution. So for this part, instead of actually showing everything, I thought, since this video is just getting a lot longer than I thought it would, I just will show you like at the end of each season what items I got to that point, just to show you kind of my progress. And then maybe if you're interested, I'll do like a separate video going more into detail of like the interesting part of the gameplay, because I do have the entire thing recorded. Like, I wanted to have everything recorded just in case I have some amazing luck and something insane would happen, and some stuff actually did, and I just had like amazing moments. But since this video is getting a lot longer than I thought it would, I just will save you some time if I'll see that you're interested and this video does at least relatively good. I'll do a separate video on like all of the highlights from my gameplay. Okay, so let's just try and get through this pretty quickly. During the first spring, I didn't get to do that much, obviously. It is the first season and all of that. So I did all of the foraging in spring, I got a few of the crops, I got a few of the stuff from the mines, I got a single egg, and a lot of the basic stuff like the wood, the stone, bat wing, slime, stuff like that. Pretty basic and nothing really that exciting. And then, as you can see, after summer I got a lot more stuff. It does look a lot more like fuller, I guess. I got a lot of the artisan stuff, like animal stuff. I have all of the eggs, pickles, mayonnaise, a few more stuff for the mines. Obviously, again, all of the foraging that's needed. And I managed to get the caviar pretty early. I already got it after half a year in the game, so that's pretty cool, honestly. Then we got into winter, and at this point the collections look a lot more full. Like at this point there are basically just a few more items that I'm missing. I have all of the basic ores and bars and almost all of the artisan stuff, almost all of the crops, almost all of the animal goods. So I'm just missing a lot of the rarer items, like all of the problematic ones, basically. That's what I'm missing at this point. And on the second page too, like a lot of the stuff I'm missing are the stuff from Ginger Island. A bit of the artisan stuff, like I don't have cloth, I don't have truffle oil yet. Obviously I'm missing a few stuff from the foraging in winter because it's just the beginning of winter. So yeah, basically at this point we're only missing the difficult items, which is, I would say, a pretty good progress. And considering I aimed to try and finish in 1 year, I would say that's pretty good. Like, honestly, it's not that bad. And so, after 1 year in the game, spring of the second year, what am I missing? So on the first page, I'm only missing like 7 items, which again, just Ginger Island stuff basically, and like second year crops. I'm missing the coconut, the banana, the rhubarb, beet, ostrich egg, void mayonnaise, and void egg. Again, it's the void egg, like I said. At some point I decided to just buy it, so we'll see that later. But aside from that, just the rhubarb and the beet are like second year crops, so it makes sense that I didn't find them. And then the coconut and the banana, I guess the coconut is from the desert and then banana is from Ginger Island. Then on the second page it's basically the same thing, it's the same situation. Like I'm missing 9 items here. Half of them are just stuff from Ginger Island, like the ginger, taro root, pineapple, mango, and cinder shard. But like aside from that, at this point, out of all of the tree fruits, I am only missing one, which is the peach. So at that point I decided to just buy the tree and let it grow because I saw I had a decent of stuff left to do, so I just decided that would be faster rather than going to the merchant at that point. And I had money to buy it, so I did. And then aside from that, the ancient fruit I still didn't have at that point, and truffle oil. And again, as I said, the dinosaur mayonnaise, which I had quite a bit of trouble getting. And then on the third page I had almost everything. I mean, it is a pretty short page, so I guess it's not that surprising. But from this page, at that point, I was only missing the stuff from Ginger Island again, and that goddamn mystic syrup. So after an entire year in the game, I was only missing 21 items out of 154, which is 86% of the entire collection, which I would say that is pretty good progress to make in 1 year, in the first year of the game. So I'm proud of myself. Obviously, I didn't meet the goal of doing that in 1 year, which I originally had, but it's honestly not that bad. So let's just see how long it did take me. So I will say that in the spring of the second year, nothing really that interesting happened. So I'm just jumping into fall. So this is like, instead of a 1 season jump, it's a 2 season jump. And at this point, I have almost everything. Like literally, I only have a select few of items missing, which are the banana. Again, very annoying, but it took me, it really did take me a while to get it. The ostrich egg, again, really annoying. And then from the second page I was just missing the mango, which is basically the same situation as the banana. Just waiting for the trees to grow and finding the saplings in the first place just took a while. And then obviously in the last page, yet again, the radioactive orange bar and the goddamn mystic syrup. Oh my god. But yeah, like literally just a select few of items, like 6 items I was missing at this point, which was driving me insane, honestly. So considering this last update, I guess, was taken in the 4th of fall of the second year, when did I actually manage to finish? 26th of summer of the 3rd year. It took me almost an entire year to get to those last 6 items. Which, I mean, to be fair, I got the banana and like mango pretty fast because at the last update I was just waiting for the trees to grow, so it didn't take that long. But the thing that delayed it so much was that stupid danger in the dip mission. I'm kidding you not. After I managed to unlock the room of Mr. Chi and get access to those missions in the first place, it took me at least like a season and a half, like 6 entire weeks. If not more, I don't remember the exact number, but like at least 6 weeks until I got that mission. Which at that time, I didn't have anything else to do. Because at that time, all I was missing was just the radioactive bar and ore and the mystic syrup. And I didn't have anything to do. So for those 6 weeks, all I was doing was just going to sleep and then hoping I would get the mission. Although in hindsight, looking back at it, I guess a smarter way of doing it was actually using those 6 weeks and trying to get experience points. I didn't really think of that, my bad, but still, it wouldn't have helped that much. It could have shortened the period by like 2 weeks probably, but not more than that. So at least 6 weeks I was just waiting to get the mission, and I finally got it. And as soon as I got it, I went to the mines and I got the ore. I got enough to make a bar, and so the only thing that was left for me was to try and get the mystic syrup. And to get the mystic syrup, I needed to get everything to level 10. And thankfully, the dangerous mines actually give you a lot of experience points. So basically on my first day there, I already got all of the points to get to level 10. So I just went to sleep, and then the next day I went to the room just to like activate the thing, and then I spent like 3 days fishing basically just to get 10,000 points. And as soon as I got those 10,000 points, I just took the recipe for the seed, planted the seed, and then I waited for like another 2-3 weeks until the tree grew and I got the mystic syrup out of it. So yeah. Okay. And that, my friends, brings us to the end. We had some highs, we had some lows, we had fishing engraved into my soul. I fished so much, so much, too much. But I mean, I love it, I enjoy it, it's my best, it's my favorite part of the game, so I'm not complaining, am I? I feel like I'm entitled to complain. Anyway, I did it. All 154 items shipped in 2.5 years in-game, and drumroll please, 40 hours of gameplay. Which, referring to my hypothesis, is not too far off, honestly. Like, in-game wise, if it weren't for Mr. Chi, I could have actually finished it in 2 years, but alas, he's just another one to add to my list of mortal enemies. And like, actual game time wise, it also wasn't that far off, like only 10 hours, which I mean percentage wise is 133% margin of error thing. I don't know how to say that, but you get the idea. But I did it. So like overall, I did do a few mistakes in the entire thing. Again, as I said in the beginning, when I went into it, I did honestly forget to check a few things, which one of those was the fact that I needed to finish the entire community center. But like overall, I don't think I did that bad. Because like as I said before, like if it weren't for Mr. Chi, if he would have given me the quests a lot earlier on, I could have finished it in 2 years, honestly. I could have gotten the quests, I could have immediately went to the mines, got the ores, skilled up my combat and mines, and then just spent the next few days trying to get 10,000 points, and if not within the first 2 years, then it would have taken me maybe an extra few days just to grow the actual tree and to wait for it to actually give me the mystic syrup. But overall, I would say that went pretty well. Will I ever do that again? Probably not. Honestly speaking, probably not. Like, it was fun, but this entire thing of like grinding and always being on edge of like not forgetting things, and like, as I said it before, but it's really hard for me to focus on and have a lot of things at once in my mind. I'm more of the type to hyper focus on one thing, and a lot of the time when I did the gameplay, I was focused on one thing, and then I checked the tables and like what I'm missing from them, and then I see something else, and I'm like, oh, I need to do that, right? And then I'll leave what I'm doing and I'll go do that, and I like ping ponged from one thing to another, which probably delayed, let's go with that, delayed the gameplay at least by some time. So can you do it better? Probably yes. Will I ever try to do it better? Probably not. But alas, that is the end of the road. We had some fun, we had some stressful moments, we learned a lot, and at the very least I made some great memories along the way. Anyway, thank you guys very, very much for watching. This is a different video than what I've been doing so far. Like, it's actually a video that took effort. Oh my god, shock, I know. Like I said before, the actual gameplay took me 40 hours. At the time of recording this audio, I have no idea how long it's going to take me to edit everything. It was a very fun experience. I do hope to make more of these kinds of videos in the future. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, comment something. If you have any suggestions for like other kind of challenges that you might want to see, please put it down below. I'll be more than happy to check it out. Same for like games you want to see, anything. I just love interacting with you guys and like reading your comments and anything like that. But yeah, this is the actual end. I have no idea how long this video actually turned out into. Again, thank you very much for watching if you stuck this long till the end. I appreciate you, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!